Hey, real quick, if you sell physical products, I want to tell you about something that is happening April 13th through the 17th that you do not want to miss. It's called the Product Seller Summit, and it's a free 5-day virtual event built specifically for product business owners who want to stop guessing and start growing. We're talking 22 expert-led sessions covering everything from Shopify conversions and Etsy trends to pricing for real profit, Pinterest traffic, and my favorite, wholesale strategy. And yes, I am one of the speakers. And what I love about this summit is that every session is a real strategy you can act on immediately. Not someday, not once you have more time, but now. Free ticket, 5 days, actionable trainings. You're not going to want to miss it. Grab your spot at the link in the show notes, and I'll see you there. How long have you been thinking about wholesaling your products? A few months, maybe a year, or even longer? I want you to sit with that question for a minute, because if you're listening to this episode, I am guessing that that is probably not a new thought for you. Wholesale has probably been on your radar, and maybe it's been on your to-do list for a few seasons now. Maybe you've even researched it, you've read about it, you've downloaded a freebie or two, and you still haven't even sent out a single retailer pitch. So what is stopping you? Because here's what I know after working with hundreds of product-based business owners. It's not that you don't want it. It's not that your product isn't good enough. It's not even that you don't know wholesale is the right next move. It's that you're waiting until you feel ready, until your launch sheet or your catalog is perfect, until your website looks more polished, until you have more products or more followers, or insert something, some invisible threshold that keeps moving every time you get close. And I want to share something important, and I want you to hear it before we go any further today. That feeling of not being ready, spoiler alert, it doesn't go away on its own. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly feel ready. You get ready by actually taking action. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to do just that. Hi, friends. Welcome to She Sells Differently, the show for aspiring women entrepreneurs looking to overcome the fear of selling and grow thriving businesses from a place of authenticity and confidence. I'm Andee Hart, and it wasn't all that long ago that I was a sales executive for a Fortune 500 company. But I knew in my heart that I was called to use my gifts for something more, something different. That's exactly why I created the She Sells Differently podcast. Each episode is going to deliver you business strategies, tools, and mindset shifts to help set you and your brand apart from our culture's expectations. It's time to elevate your sales and build a profitable, sustainable business you're proud of, one built on integrity, grace, and humility. It's time to learn how to sell differently. Welcome back to She Sells Differently. I'm Andee Hart, and if you are new here, this podcast is for product-based business owners who want to grow through wholesale and get their products on retail shelves without the pressure, confusion, or the burnout that comes through growing a business. We talk strategy here, we talk mindset, and we do it all in a way that aligns with your values. We talk about selling in a way that actually feels good, because I truly believe that you can build a business that is both profitable and aligned with your faith and values. Those two things are not in conflict, and they never were. Today's episode is going to be a little different from what I normally bring you. I'm not breaking down a concept or walking through a framework just for the sake of teaching. I am here to pull back the curtain of something I have been, I would say building, but I've actually been refreshing it behind the scenes because so many of you guys have gone through my 5 retailers in 5 days challenge. And it has genuinely changed the trajectory of so many of your businesses. And I am going to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look at what it is, how it works, and why I created it, and what I am doing a little bit different as we move forward, and how I am changing up things a little bit for you guys to make it have even a bigger impact on your business. So, whether you've been wholesaling for a while and feel like you've just hit a wall, or you've been circling the idea of wholesale for maybe longer than you want to admit, this episode is for you. So, stick with me. I know you're going to be so glad that you did. So, first up, we're going to talk about something that doesn't get talked about a lot when we're talking about wholesale. We talk a lot about tactics like line sheets, pitch emails, fair market strategy, and all of that matters. And before we talk about any of that, I want to call out what's actually happening for most makers who haven't even jumped into wholesaling yet, because it's actually not what you think it is. It's not that you don't know what wholesale is. Most of you do. And it's not that you don't believe in your product or that you don't have a great product. You absolutely do. What's actually happening is this: you're stuck in a research loop that feels productive, but it's not moving you forward. It feels productive, but it's not moving the needle in your business. You've been reading blog posts about wholesale. You've been watching YouTube videos. You've downloaded the freebies. You've browsed Fair. Maybe you've applied to Fair. You started a list of stores that you'd love to be in someday. And all of that research gives you this feeling of progress, like you're getting ready, like you're almost there. But the retailer pitches aren't going out. The emails aren't being sent. You're not going into stores and letting them know who you are and the value that your products provide to their store. And every season that passes is another season of revenue that someone else is collecting while you're still getting ready. And here's what I've come to understand after working with makers at every stage of this journey. The research isn't about getting ready. The research is comfortable. The research doesn't risk anything. Sending the actual retailer pitch, that risks something. That risks silence. That risks a no, hearing a no. And that is terrifying in a way that no one really talks about out loud. We don't voice that out loud. Because when we are creating something with our own two hands, hearing that no can be scary because it feels like a personal rejection. I know because I've been there. And I too am a recovering perfectionist that tends to stall and wait too long, doing all of the research before I end up taking action. It's something I still have to battle to this day. I actually keep a note on a whiteboard by my desk, and it says, is this a needle mover or a creative distraction? And so I challenge you to ask the same thing of yourself. Is what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, is it a needle mover in your business, or is it a creative distraction? I want to share something that one of my students, Mary, said after she went through this challenge. She said, I was so afraid of hearing no. Now I see it as not yet. No means not yet. This challenge gave me clarity and confidence I didn't expect. That's the shift I'm talking about. It's not a tactics shift, it's a mindset shift from paralyzed to actually taking action and sending those pitch emails, from waiting to moving. Here's what I keep hearing over and over again from makers in my community who weren't taking action on wholesale. I'm almost ready. I just need to finish my line sheet. I'll start next season. And every single time I knew the problem wasn't their product, it wasn't their brand, it wasn't pricing or their packaging or any of the other things they were trying to convince themselves needed to be perfect first. The problem was that nobody had ever stopped to show them what to do, step by step, day by day, in a way that was simple enough and broken down step by step to actually follow through on. So I built it. And that is exactly what my wholesale challenge is. As I have refreshed this challenge, my all new challenge is called the Retail Ready Wholesale Challenge. It's 5 days, real action, real results. This is not a theory course. It's not a workshop where you take notes and then wonder what to actually do with them. This is a challenge where every day ends with something tangible, something that you actually take action on and send to a real store, a real boutique, a real retailer. And then by the end of day 5, you're going to have real wholesale pitches in real retailer inboxes and a system that you can rinse and repeat and use again and again every single season for as long as you are in business. And so I'm going to walk you through what each day of the 5-day challenge looks like. On day 1, we are going to be focusing on the thing that almost everyone skips, because retailers don't just buy products, they are buying your brand. And so we are going to be talking about the one sentence that makes a retailer stop scrolling and say, "Tell me more." And the reason that it matters is because it becomes the foundation of every single sales pitch, whether you're writing an email or dropping into a store or making a phone call, for every single retailer interaction that you make. Most product brands skip this entirely, and then they just jump straight into sending emails or sending pitches or walking straight into a store, and they don't get replies or they get told no. And it's because without this foundation, your product just blends in with every other maker out there. And your pitch sounds like 1,000 other pitches that retailers get in their box every single week. We fix that on day 1, and you're going to learn how to make your product brand stand out in a crowded market and articulate what makes your brand the right fit for the right stores. On day 2, we learn how to find 20 dream retailers in under an hour. Now, let's talk about something here, because I want to be very, very clear. We're not talking about just a random list that you pull from Google search. We're talking about aligned retailers that are aligned to your brand. We don't want to just send our pitch emails to every single store out there and hope something sticks. We want to find retailers that already carry products similar to yours, who serve the same customer that you serve, have a similar aesthetic and values, and actually align with your brand. I'm going to show you my 3-source method for building a prospect list of 20 aligned retailers in under an hour. And once you know this method, then you can repeat it every single season. And this never gets old, because your list is always growing. And I'll give you some tips and tricks in there as well that I use as best practices for growing your retailer list. On day 3, we're going to talk about the one thing that most people miss in their wholesale pitch. And this makes most people nervous on day 3. And I get it because this is the day where the rubber meets the road and we're actually going to have to write the pitch and send it. But here's what I want you to know. I'm going to show you the exact anatomy of a pitch email that works. The subject line formula, the email body, and the one clear next step. And I'm going to show you what not to include because most makers are way overcomplicating this in a way that is actually costing them responses. And then by the end of day 3, you're going to have at least three real pitch emails to send to your retailers. Not just drafts, but actually real pitch emails. And here's what Tay said after completing the challenge. She said, instead of guessing who to pitch or what to say, I walked away with a clear retailer list, personalized outreach, not cold outreach, and polished pitch materials. The responses I received were overwhelmingly positive, and I finally felt confident and prepared to get my products onto more shelves. And that is exactly what day 3 is built to do. Now, day 4 is where most wholesale accounts are won because here's the secret. A lot of people will quit here because they might hear silence or they might get a no. They send one email, they might hear nothing for a few days and decide wholesale is not for them and they call it rejection. They say they've tried. I hear it over and over again. But as I mentioned earlier, the truth is that silence is not a no. Retailers are busy and they may have every intention of replying to you, but they never got back to it or they forgot. And there's a specific strategic move for every possible response that you get, including no response at all. And so on day 4, I am going to walk you through the follow-up sequence that actually works, when to send the follow-up, what to say, how to follow up in a way that feels like genuine care, because that is the kind of brand owners that we are, instead of that pushy desperation, and how to handle the most common replies that you might get, including the send me more info or not right now. Now, day 5 is where everything clicks. You've shown up, you've done the work, you've got the pitches out and the follow-up scheduled, and maybe hopefully you have some replies coming in. But now the question is, how do you make this a rhythm instead of a one-time push? Because that is the real goal here. Wholesale is not a launch, it's a habit, and you have to be consistent here if you are building a business. It's not just 5 days of hustle that fizzles out in a week. It is a simple, sustainable outreach habit that builds your wholesale pipeline every single week without taking over your entire schedule. And so on day 5, we talk about building your wholesale weekly rhythm and how many pitches you need to send out each day, your outreach day, your follow-up schedule, and building that operating system for sustainable success that you can actually maintain alongside everything else you're doing in your business. And it really doesn't take a lot of time, but it is a necessity to continue to build that pipeline and growing a successful wholesale business. So when you complete all 5 days, there is actually something waiting for you at the end that I know you are going to love. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but when you finish day 5, you'll find out. And so you get a bonus reveal for you. And so I want to be very direct and clear here because I want to take a minute and just be very specific about who this challenge is designed for and who it's not for. It's for you if you've been thinking about wholesale for a while and you haven't taken action yet, you haven't started. And if you've maybe started, you have a few wholesale accounts, but you feel stuck. You don't have consistent results. You don't have a clear process in place, and you're never quite sure what to do next. And if you're tired of the feast and famine cycles of direct to consumer sales, those one-off sales going to markets on the weekend, and you want a revenue stream that compounds on itself instead of starting from zero each month. If you have a product that you know deep down belongs on retail shelves, this is for you. If you have 20 to 30 minutes a day for 5 days to show up and you're willing to put in the actual work. Now, you don't need a finished line sheet or wholesale catalog. You don't need a big social media following. You don't need to have prior wholesale experience. That's what I'm going to walk you through. You don't need to already be on FAIR. And you absolutely don't need to feel ready, because this challenge builds that readiness for you. That's the entire point. Bethany said it this way after she finished the challenge. She said, I did not realize how doable wholesale could be until this challenge. Everything was broken down into easy, actionable steps, and the process was clear instead of overwhelming. Finally understand how wholesale works, and I feel confident getting my products onto more shelves. This is who this challenge is for. Someone who just needs it to make sense. Someone who just needs someone to show them the steps. Now, let's talk about who this challenge is not for. If you're looking for something passive, something you just sign up for and maybe get around to eventually, this isn't it. This is 5 days of focused, intentional action, and the results are real, but they do require you to show up. And if you do, I promise the work is worth it and it will pay off in dividends. But as with anything in life, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the 20 or 30 minutes a day. You have to show up, you have to learn, and you have to take the action necessary to get the results. No way around it. I will show you how to do it. I will show you the steps necessary. You take the action and you will get the results. Now, what's cool about this challenge too is you're going to get access to a private podcast version of the challenge that you can listen to on the go. And so as soon as you subscribe, you will get access to day 1 and you can hit the ground running. And don't forget, there is an amazing completion bonus waiting for you at the end of day 5 that I am really excited for you to unlock. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you're going to have to finish day 5 to find out. And then it will automatically, I made that word up, unlock for you. And it is absolutely worth finishing. So grab the link in the show notes and have fun with this all new revised wholesale challenge, retail ready challenge. And if you've been thinking about wholesale for any length of time and you know in your gut that your product belongs on retail shelves, this is where you start. Not when you feel ready, but now. The link is in the show notes, or you can find it at Retail Ready Challenge. Go sign up, and I will see you in day 1. Thanks so much for spending this time with me today. It genuinely means everything that you show up for this podcast week after week, and I don't take that for granted. I'll be back next Wednesday with another episode. Until then, I'm cheering you on. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of She Sells Differently. Friends, it would be a huge blessing to me if you would take 2 seconds to rate and subscribe to my podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Until then, I'm cheering you on in your entrepreneurial journey. See you next time.